All right, class, let's get going with our lesson on post-impressionism. This is our art lesson for the, kind of the World War I time era. Post-impressionism, as we'll see in the next couple slides, comes obviously after impressionism, but before the 20th century art, which we'll cover in our last section. So what I want you to do is take some notes. You should take 10 notes. 5 per slide with a lot of words on them, and then we'll take some more notes when we talk about the people. Alright, so on this slide, make sure you take 5 notes. After I read all this information, I'll have you, the sub, pause it for a few minutes, and then if the students finish up their notes, then we can get going with the slideshow once again. So post-impressionism was a predominantly French art movement that developed roughly between 1886 and 1905. Post-impressionism emerged as a reaction against impressionist concern for the naturalistic depiction of light and color. Due to its broad emphasis on abstract qualities or symbolic content, post-impressionism encompasses neo-impressionism, symbolism, and synthesism, along with some later impressionist work. The movement was led by Paul Cézanne, Paul Gauguin, Vincent van Gogh, and George Seurat. So if the sub can look around the classroom and see that students need a little bit more time to take 5 notes, then you can pause the video right now. Otherwise, just keep on rolling, but pause it if you need it. Okay, as you see here, here's 2 famous paintings from this time frame. The Starry Night, which is a very famous painting, some of you might recognize it, and the Yellow House, both representing post-impressionist paintings. Okay, so you should already have 5 notes from the slide a couple minutes ago. Now you need to take 5 more notes off of this page. So the term post-impressionism was coined by the British artist and art critic Roger Fry in 1910 to describe the development of the French art since Manet. Fry used the term when he organized the 1910 exhibition Manet and the Post-Impressionists. Post-Impressionists extended Impressionism while rejecting its limitations. They continued using vivid colors, often thick application of paint, and real-life subject matter. But they were more inclined to emphasize geometric forms, to distort form for expressive effect, and to use unnatural or arbitrary color. So you should have 5 more notes off of this slide. Once again, the sub might need to pause the video for a few minutes until all the students have a grand total of 10 notes, 5 from the first slide a couple slides ago, and then this one. Now what I want you to do is draw a little line under those first 10 notes that we have taken, and then I want you to write down each one of these individuals and just write down 1 or 2 little quick notes on them. So once again, underneath your 10 notes, draw a line, and then write down each one of these individuals, famous artists from this time period, and just take 1 or 2 notes about each one of these. So Paul Gauguin, born June 1848 to May of 1903, was a French post-impressionist artist who was not well appreciated until after his death. Gauguin was later recognized for his experimental use in color and synthetic style that were distinctly different from Impressionism. Paul Gauguin is very famous for visiting the French Polynesian islands, in particular Tahiti in the South Pacific, where he created quite a few masterpieces, one of which we will be looking at later. Our next painter, Vincent van Gogh, 1853 to 1890, was a major post-impressionist painter, a Dutch artist whose work had a far-reaching influence in the 20th century. His output included self-portraits, landscapes, still lifes, portraits, paintings, wheat fields, sunflowers. Paul Gauguin was a very famous artist. We also took a look at him when we were studying our Impressionists, so he kind of crosses over between both Impressionism and Post-Impressionism. Paul Cézanne, 1839 to 1906, was a French artist and post-impressionist painter whose work laid the foundations for the transition of the 19th century conception of artistic endeavor. to a new and radically different world of the art of the 20th century. So he was that transitional artist that helped bring about the 20th century artwork. So once again, you should have 1 or 2 notes for each one of these individuals. If you need to, the sub needs to pause once again to help them get caught up, that's fine, but you should have something down. So at this time, you should have 10 notes from our first couple slides, then a couple more about the individual painters. Draw a line under all that. Now, I want you to get those books that we always look at, the big white ones. There should be some up by the desk where the sub is sitting. And I want you to turn to a painting by Paul Cézanne on page 97 and take 10 more notes. I'm taking a lot of notes while the sub's here. All right, so take 10 more notes. Look at this painting by Paul Cézanne on page 97 of the book. Look at all the excerpts and the commentaries on the side. Take 10 more notes and get that going. So for the sub, I'd like you to pause this video right now where it's at. And when everyone's done and has showed you their papers with all their notes on it, then you can resume the PowerPoint, YouTube video, and to the last slide. All right, this is what we're going to draw today. So We Shall Not Go Into the Market Today by Paul Gauguin, 1892. If you remember, just a few minutes ago, I mentioned how Paul Gauguin was a French painter, but he visited the French Polynesian islands, Tahiti. And this depiction is of some lovely ladies in the Tahitian islands who, if it's any representative of what the title is about, are going to sit around and maybe chit-chat instead of going to the market. And if you look closely in the background on the upper right-hand side, it appears that there are some men that have recently come back from a fishing trip, and they're hauling some fish to the market to sell. So please find this painting on your iPad, and then choose 2 people to paint. Choose 2 people to paint. So maybe the 2 girls on the left side, or the 2 girls in the middle, or the 2 girls on the right, or the gentleman in the background carrying the fish. Choose 2 people to paint. And when I say paint, that means draw them up on the back of your paper, and make sure you turn this into the sub so I can take a look at it when I get back. All right, good job.